Visit our website or call 730-0663.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. Michael Carlisle along with Micah Frankel. When the cat's away, Micah, the mice will play. Leroy, I could make up some elaborate story. He's staking out Wise Pies Arena, waiting to see who's transferring out of Lobo basketball next. But he's just lazy and taking the day off. So Micah and I will run things today. Busy show today. Lots of stuff going on. WrestleMania on Sunday. We're both dumb wrestling fans. We'll give our WrestleMania predictions. Lots of stuff to get to. But real quick on the Lobo basketball thing, Micah. 4 players in 2 weeks. As we tape this, now by the time you actually see it, who knows how many it is, but 4 players have transferred out. Crazy situation right now at UNM.
I know losing can be hard, but the coach that Leroy loves so much and adamantly would like to see depart, this does not look good for him.
It doesn't, and I've been a big Craig Neal supporter. At some point in time, you've got to stop the bleeding. There are rumors out there that they're 4 and counting as we do the show here today. Don't be surprised if they're not more unless something happens. It may be time to make a change just to stop the bleeding.
When a third of the team that is active, that is on the court, is not with what the coach is doing, that's not a good sign. When you're not getting the results and you're not seeing a coach that can even connect with the players, it's all in a bad sign for the program.
It's not good. And we'll talk more Lobo basketball during the show. Don't want to bring everything down right at the beginning, right?
We can't be that depressive, right, can we?
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about happy things. Big boxing event, Micah, coming up this weekend. Legacy Boxing presents Expo Explosion on Saturday night. Going to be a really huge deal.
In all, we're going to be having 11 fights, I believe, on the books. The card is stacked with Fidel Maldonado, the main event. Josh Pitbull Torres in the co-main event. You get Hector Munoz, Joaquin Zamora. It's the Team Top Year reunion with Pitbull, Zamora, and Munoz. Not to mention there's some of the most veteran fighters we have here in the state that have been on some big platforms. You also got the young, talented prospects, Jason Sanchez, his brother Jose Luis. You got Jose Osorio. A great card for the boxing event, and I'm sure that's going to be a great night. 64 rounds in all, possibly, and the night gets started with 3 bouts that include 5 fighters making their pro debut. So talking about taking that next step, jumping up there, it's going to be a great night, I'm sure, of action. Doors open at 4 at the Manuel Lujan complex, and then the first fight is to begin at 5. And now we're going to bring in a guest to help us break down and talk more about this great card. The best boxing writer in New Mexico. Honestly, I take second to this man. Killeen's Corner, Austin Killeen, thanks for joining us. Expo Explosion, and I believe we're going to be taping and seeing that later here on ProView Networks, and you're going to be doing the commentary.
Right. I don't know who I'm going to be doing commentary on. We're talking right now. Yesterday I was with one of the Perez brothers, and I came away with a different card than you had. So that's going to be interesting. Plus, you have the Golden Gloves going on simultaneously.
So yeah, boxing in Las Vegas. I believe the Crispins still doing
the
it?
Golden Gloves is right here.
Oh, that's going to be here this year?
In other words, well, it has been here for the last 4 years.
And where are they doing that at?
Over at the community center on Prosperity Avenue.
Okay. It's down there off of Broadway and Mountain, right? So you have the Golden Gloves, and we have this pro event. That's going to run into each other, and that's going to put some trainers on a strain.
It should never happen. It's the fourth time boxing has been conflicting with itself. And the Golden Gloves is always on this weekend. So, but no one seems to be checking with anybody else.
And that's interesting with Pettis being involved, and I know that Pettis are going to be involved with the Golden Gloves also, right?
Right. His son is in the Golden Gloves tournament.
No, Austin, why don't these different promoters check with each other? Don't they realize that, hey, if we don't compete with each other, that means more people will come to each of our events?
Well, you have Buffalo Thunder has 3 boxing cards a year. It's always the same dates. You have the Golden Gloves. It's always the same date. When Eric Martinez and the Perez brothers first started promoting, their very first fight was 3 miles down the road from Buffalo Thunder, so they're going head-to-head on a fight card. And so then there was another fight card out in Clovis, New Mexico, competing with a pro card here. So there's just no excuse for that to be happening.
Now, as far as for that, even on that topic, I had last year where I went to an MMA card in Clovis, drove back that night, next morning headed up to Camel Rock for a boxing card. So according to the commission, there is some structure in place to try to stop that from happening, because even recently we've been talking, I had said June 17th, it looked like there's going to be Art of War in Clovis, and then there's going to be the Jackson's MMA series the next night. The Jackson's MMA series is actually moved up a week to June 10th, so there isn't that conflict. Now, it's awful to see it with the amateurs, and I got to point out it's a little funny to see that happen with USA Boxing and Legacy, considering Geraldo, the co-host of our very own Legacy Boxing Showcase here on ProView Networks, is tied to the promotion and is one of the heads of USA Boxing. So we figured this conflict could have been nipped in the bud pretty, good, right?
Well, there's certain boxing dates that happen every year.
Yeah.
So if you're scheduling pro boxing, the commission should know those dates.
So for you, commentating with the pro card, are you even going to be able to make it out to do your normal work after Golden Gloves?
I can't cover Saturday's bouts because just impossible. So I'll do Friday night's Golden Glove and I'll do Sunday, but there's just no way I can be in 2 places at once. So Saturday I just won't be at the Golden Gloves.
It's too bad. Hopefully we can get these conflicts resolved slowly but surely. Like I said, we're working towards that resolution. But right now we are talking about Expo Explosion. So what can we expect from this main event? We know that one. We both have the same fight, at least for that one, with Fidel Maldonado Jr., the Atrisco Kid, and Muhammad Rodriguez. We know that Fidel is a southpaw, a technical boxer, and does bring big power. Tell us about Rodriguez, though.
Well, I've seen him fight. In fact, I saw him win down at the bomb factory in Dallas, Texas. Interesting name for an arena. They literally made bombs in World War II.
Oh, wow.
And someone with a lot of money went in and refurbished the bomb factory, and now they use it for music concerts, MMA, fighting, boxing. It's a beautiful venue. It's the food's catered by one of the best restaurants.
Nice.
And they have a balcony overlooking the boxing ring, and they can obviously, when they have a music concert, then they use the stage. So it's rather a nice setup there, and it holds about 4,000 people. So the card I covered, Rodriguez was on that card, and he's very fit. He's a very good fighter. So Fidel's got a live opponent.
Orthodox or southpaw?
It's been so long since I saw the fight. It was about 3 months ago. I can't even remember. But my take on Rodriguez, he's extremely well built to the point I'm wondering how much he uses weights, because he was strong, but he didn't have a lot of. He was. Power comes, with speed times strength.
So he looked like a muscular, kind of more mechanical guy?
So he was pushing his punches, but he was physically in shape. He'll have no problem going the distance. And he certainly had a decent defense, and he won the fight. It was a good, tough fight. So Fidel's going to have a live opponent in front of him.
Also in the co-main event, we have the same fight. John David Charles is coming out here to take on the pit bull, Josh Torres, a motivated Josh Torres. 2 losses. That's detrimental in boxing.
Well,
Backs in the corner.
If he loses, he's no longer relevant. He desperately needs a win.
And how dangerous is John David Charles?
You know, I never saw him fight, but he's 500 record, so obviously he knows how to find the winner's circle. And I don't think he has a great deal of power, but that doesn't mean you can't win a fight, because Marufo beat Josh Torres, and he's never had a single knockout.
I had some time to talk to Josh. I think that was a real wake-up call to him. He even said he kind of got a little laxed off of fighting Mike Alvarado, getting robbed on a decision, looking so good against a former world champion.
I don't know that I'd say it was a robbery.
Well, he felt it was a robbery, and he felt that it made him get overconfident of where he was. At least that's what he expressed to me.
My feeling in that fight going into the 8th round, it was up for grabs, and I just don't think Josh showed any urgency. And when you're fighting the house fighter for the promoter, you gotta figure you're not gonna get any gifts.
And then, did you think he was too lax against Marufo here?
Well, I don't know what was wrong, but he just never got started. And I think Marufo seems to have his number.
I think that Marufo came out highly motivated and very determined. It just seemed in his mind, I'm just flat out going to throw more punches than Torres.
And that's basically what he did. The amazing thing about Marufo, he's had all these fights. He's never scored a single knockout, because he certainly seems pretty rugged. He goes in and he'll trade.
Now, Josh, leading up to this fight, has certainly seemed a lot more confident. Do you think we see more of that Josh Torres we've seen in the past? I mean, do you think he realizes the situation he's in right now?
I hope he does. But I had one trainer, I won't mention him by name, he asked me not to. But his take on Josh, he's in the middle of his marriage, meaning in terms of bringing children into the world. He's got his newest baby at home. And you know, when you're a father, or you know, you're getting involved with your kids, and Josh is a great dad. So this particular trainer questions, it might be subconscious, but how important is boxing in his life as it was, you know, prior. So that's an interesting take on Josh. I certainly hope we see the fiery Josh, but.
Like to see that pit bull come out there and throw some hooks to the body, throw some more power shots like we did in his early days in his first 8-9 fights.
Well, I spend a lot of time with Josh in the gym. He's a wonderful gym fighter. When he works in the gym, it's like a classroom. It doesn't matter who he's sparring with. He'll help the other fighter. He never tries to abuse anybody. But in that 8th round with Alvarado, it seemed like he was in the gym, not in a ring. And that was my take on that fight. So I didn't feel it was an outrageous. I thought Josh started fast, and then I just don't know what happened.
Getting off of that top 2 fights that we were talking about, we can start having some fun. We got a couple different sources and conflicting reports. So what do you got for us? I believe, who do you have Jason Sanchez? Undefeated young prospect, Jason Sanchez. Who have you got him fighting, Austin? And I'll tell you then who I have.
Well, if we put our cards together, there might be 15, 16 fights.
You never know. They are promising us an Expo Explosion.
Well, I have Jose Sanchez fighting Derek Perez.
I have Jose Luis Sanchez fighting, I believe, Moses Alvilo.
Yeah.
Now, Moses is hurt. He's definitely, as I talked to his trainer coming in here.
Okay, so we know that one is definitely off. Now, you said Derek Perez. I had been messaged by Isidro Castillo III that they were going to rematch. Unneeded rematch. We saw the destruction that took place up at Buffalo Thunder. No disrespect to Derek, but he got overwhelmed, overmatched, and knocked down twice in a violent fashion. So do you have anybody for Isidro Castillo, or as far as your notes, he's not on the card?
My notes, Isidro, I have him fighting Hector Garza, who is from Texas.
And on my notes, we originally had Hector Garza taking on Christian Cabral, but I recently was told that Garza pulled out of that fight, and instead Christopher Russell will be fighting Cabral, but I believe you do have that fight.
Right. I have the same. That would seemingly favor Christian Cabral, I would think, unless he's extremely rusty.
It's about 18 months since we've seen, 16 to 18 months since we've seen him in the ring. How much do you think that's going to play on a young fighter who only had 8 fights on his belt?
I think it's when you haven't fought in a while. I don't care how hard you are in the gym. I've had fights where I had a layoff of over a year, and I trained really hard, but still your timing's off. it's one thing to fight in the gym. It's another thing to be up in the ring fighting. So I think it's hard. One of the remarkable exceptions to that rule was when Sugar Ray Leonard had a 5-year layoff and beat Marvin Hagler. So it can be done.
Now, I know you cover the amateurs a lot more than I do. So we also have heard that Ronnie Baca will be taking on Marcos Arturo. I don't know if you have that one.
I do. I have Ronnie Baca, the welterweight, fighting Marco Servin.
And
Arturo Servin.
Arturo Servin. What can you tell us about those two then? I know Servin's making his debut. Have you seen him in the amateurs?
I haven't, but I'm very friendly with Jose Lopez, his trainer. Jose has come up and stayed at my house in the past. Matter of fact, Marufo has stayed at my house. And I'm always honest with the local fighters. Josh Torres is my barber. So when I had Marufo, I certainly told Josh, you know, that because I'm not trying to help anybody. Having fought myself, I never understood why people would boo me just because I was from out of town. And I feel that, you know, the playing field should be level.
Fidel Maldonado, Matthew Griego, Josh Torres. Do you think there's a reason why boxing and being a barber kind of fit together right now?
Well, you also have, he's taking time off, Brandon Holmes. There's a fourth barber. And there's somebody who's escaped me. There's a fifth. Soriano from Roswell. He's going to beauty school.
Okay.
And so now you have a fifth.
And Conrad owns Conrad Barbershop up on Coors. He's jumped in the boxing ring once against Antonio Martinez. So what do you think it is with the precision of it is boxing and the precision of doing a haircut that kind of molds for these guys?
Well, I think what Josh Torres likes, I'm trying to stealing his words, but like this week he's not cutting hair because I need a haircut. And he said,
and we need him to look good for the ProView telecast.
So, I might have to try to do my own. So Josh likes that freedom. He works for Jake's Barbershop, and it's a great situation for Josh. So Fidel really is into cutting hair, and now Matthew Griego, Diamond Boy, he's going to barber school. So they all seem to really like it. And with Fidel, he has a passion for anything he does. You know, he obviously is very concerned about his boxing career. He has a passion for it, but he really loves barber. So he takes that very seriously.
And like you kind of alluded to, those guys can, you know, do the barbering, but tailor their schedule around their training schedule.
That seems to be the way it's working out for them. And, you know, I certainly like Josh Torres, and he's never tried to scalp me when I'm giving him a bad fight. So
being professional.
Yeah, he is a very professional. So that's one of the things I like about Josh. He's very honest. He doesn't try to fabricate anything.
It's a big day of boxing we're going to have on Saturday. One last thing to touch on. Do you have a front runner in your mind heading into the event for who's going to be fight of the night? I think Jose Osorio, Ricky Vasquez has that possibility.
We agree. They both fight tough. They've got winning records with many of their fights coming on the road. So that's a
battle tested.
Yeah, they're battle tested. They fight tough. And a lot of fighters, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with Diamond Boy fighting here in town. And early in a fighter's career, you want to build their record up. But his last fight, he did step up to the plate, and he had a tough fight. And so now it'll be interesting to see what he does. Brian Mendoza is ready to make the step up. He's a vicious puncher.
Please, somebody get him a real fight.
Well, I think he's had his fight down in Rio Rancho last summer, I thought was a real fight. Matter of fact, in the third round, he pushed Brian around pretty good. And Brian made the adjustment between rounds, and then he switched to boxing. He didn't try to slug anymore because he realized that was getting him into trouble. And the other thing I like about Brian, when he fought a fighter that's on the card, Anthony, I'm trying to see
Anthony Hill.
Hill, he's very tough to beat, even though his record is awful. He has his own business. He goes to college, and his business he uses to finance his boxing rather to pay for his schooling. And after a couple of rounds of trying to hit him, Brian just switched and he stepped in with a jab and boxed him. He didn't try to go for the knockout. So I think Brian Mendoza is showing a lot of maturity. I mean, Joe Louis didn't knock everybody out. You get into the ring and hey, you figure out what's in front of you.
And that's also going to lead into saying that Joaquin Zamora has a tougher task on his hands with Anthony Hill than looking at the records one would expect.
Well, there's an interesting fight in itself. You got two smoothies, because in his last fight, Joaquin had his left hand on the ropes, pinning the fighter, his opponent, so he couldn't get free. The referee was on his right side, couldn't understand why would a fighter stay there getting. So when he ran around to the other side of Joaquin, he switched hands and started hitting him with his left hand. So Joaquin's a smoothie, but so was Anthony Hill. So we're going to see a lot of magic in that fight. But I'm questioning the weight differential. Joaquin, his last fight, I believe he was in the high 150s, and Anthony Hill fights around 140.
I think Hill's going to come in a little heavy, and I saw Joaquin last week at the Western Regionals, and he was looking quite skinny, quite in fight shape, ready to go that day. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe maybe they're meeting at 152, 150.
Well, what I like about Joaquin, he's the only professional boxer that's older than me. So I like that. So he's a sharp guy. He's a college grad. He worked hard. I believe he graduated just this past year.
Austin,
Yeah.
It's been great previewing this event this Saturday, Expo Explosion at the Manuel Lujan Complex. Again, doors are at 4. First fight is at 5. ProView Networks will be airing the event later, and you can hear Austin Keeling with that play-by-play. There'll be more Red Menace TV after a quick break.
Said that head and arm toss is just is in 30 pounds is maybe conservative. It might be more 40 or 50 pounds. But right there, just the pure mass is on a great win. Except from West Mesa, who was the number 2 seed, had a fall of 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Looks like he's in place here. He's got to flatten out. He's got to get those toes out. To be honest, I didn't see the slap, but there's a pin. Fouled and 1. Period. And let's see if he can keep the shoulders in. He's got it. Okay, I'm not sure he had him down. I'll give him that. Even though the referee was a little bit off the side, I don't think he would have had it. Now, right there is looking pretty good. There's no premature pins given tonight. Transition with a throwdown. There's your dagger explanation point.
ProView Networks and Legacy Boxing Promotions are proud to present the Expo Explosion weigh-ins, Friday, March 31st from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Uptown Sports Bar, 6601 Uptown Boulevard Northeast. Great boxers like Christian Cabral, Hector Munoz, Jason and Jose Sanchez, Josh Pitbull Torres, and Fidel the Atrisco Kid Maldonado.
Altitude Sports Grill is where Albuquerque's sports fans won't miss a game. With locally crafted brews on tap and refreshingly crisp cocktails. Located in Hotel Cascada, Albuquerque residents find a staycation worth staying for. Catching Lobo sports, enjoying a beer on the beach, or wiping out, Hotel Cascada is home to your urban adventure. Affordable guest rooms, no-hassle water park parties, and much more.
Sure, you could get him a new car. You could also light a pile of money on fire. So maintaining this old car is your best option. Keep it running longer, stronger, with quality parts and a whole lot of Napa know-how.
Ladera Golf Course on Albuquerque's west side features spacious greens, 27 holes with outstanding practice facilities, and beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains, nestled at the foot of the volcanoes. Our 300-person banquet room and bridal suite is perfect for all occasions. Customize your room with color, chair covers, table linen, dinner, and champagne. Visit our cafe and bar with daily specials and happy hour, plus our full-service golf pro shop. For tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
I am never getting married. Never. Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
I love it here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, talk to State Farm agent Michelle Rudolph or Marty Size in Albuquerque.
Hey, I'm AJ Bramlett.
And I'm Kevin Banks.
And you got the juice.
Adam Smile. Oh, are you sure that was good? Here you go, I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass it. Grab that.
Oh.
Grab that.
Now there's an easier way to find deals at great New Mexico restaurants. DineNM.com. Just use your smartphone. Go to the site, download the app. No purchase or printer necessary. DineNM.com. The easiest way to save money when dining out.
Visit the Frontier Restaurant. Due to heavy construction on Central, take lead or coal coming north or south. The Frontier Restaurant. Get your Frontier fix on.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Welcome back to Red Menace TV. It's Michael Carlisle and Micah Frankel. No Leroy this week. He's very busy doing Leroy things, I guess.
You know, when you troll on Twitter as much as he does, it has to be tiring. It's hard out there for a troll.
Probably like carpal tunnel or something, because, you know, whether it's Lobo fans he's trolling, whether it's Democrats he's trolling, he's a big Trump guy. He does a lot of trolling.
That does happen. I mean, he has a variety of enthusiastic hobbies, and most of them consider hate.
It would be easier to sit here and tell you the people that Leroy has not offended at some point than run down the list of all the ones that he has. Hey, here's something that doesn't happen a lot, so let's take advantage of it. When talking about MMA, starting off and focusing a lot on Bellator. Bellator has a big card this weekend that's free on Spike. with Rampage Jackson, King Mo in the main event, and a big pay-per-view coming up from Madison Square Garden in June.
You do. Well, this weekend, in close enough to Chicago that they're calling it Chicago in Illinois, a great main event. Well, not a great main event, but it could turn into something great. At least they have animosity. King Mo, Rampage Jackson. You got Rampage wanting to use his wrestling in reverse. King Mo wants to use his wrestling to get on top. Rampage is looking to land a big bomb. King Mo is going to be trying to work his jab, set up his strikes to get on the inside. He's already on the conference call threatening Rampage that he's going to be on his legs, hunting for that takedown all night long. They have animosity. The first fight was awkward. Mo was in on takedowns a lot, but couldn't complete them. I thought him, by attempting those takedowns, was the aggressor, so I thought he won the fight. The judges went the other direction, gave it to Rampage. It wasn't a clear-cut decision, so it is something that maybe they can get their aggressions out at each other this time, or maybe they just walk away just as mad because, as with Rashad Evans, Mo is going to look to wrestle Rampage, and that's not exactly the way Rampage wants to get out his aggressions.
Now, you can say what you want about Rampage. Maybe he shouldn't still be doing this at his age. Whatever. I think he's still in pretty doggone good shape, although he's put on weight. He's fighting at a higher weight. I'm a huge King Mo fan. I'm actually really looking forward to this fight on Friday.
And that's the other thing that's interesting about this fight, the weight class. They met at light heavyweight. They both had to cut weight. That was hard for Rampage. We've seen him not look in the best physical condition, but have the energy to fight at heavyweight. He's going to come in somewhere between 220 to 230 range, whereas King Mo is going to come in somewhere between 210 to 220. So what is that extra 10 pounds do in a 3-round fight and in those grappling situations that we know Mo is going to force to happen? Does it make Rampage tire out, or does he have the more muscle to push off King Mo?
Now, and sticking with Bellator, and I know this has been met with mixed results so far. I'm actually kind of intrigued by it. Bellator going to have their second ever pay-per-view. It'll emanate from Madison Square Garden in June. The main event, Chael Sonnen, Wanderlei Silva. You've got Fedor in the co-main against Matt Mitrione. A lot of people are a little upset Bellator's going to the pay-per-view. Hey, you were going to offer us Fedor on free TV a couple of months ago. That had to get postponed. Now you're going to charge us for it. I like it, though.
I understand you like it. The one part I don't like about it is that Bellator has set themselves apart from the UFC. They're paying fighters in a different structure. We know that fighters get the pay bonuses for showing up here, here, and here. There's a different structure going on with Bellator. We were led to believe that a fight like Chael Sonnen versus Tito Ortiz was a big fight, that it was a big buildup. Now, with the recent comments made in the last couple days, we are being told that the big fights are yet to come and they will be on pay-per-view. Well, let's not forget that they just took, the drug test failures, Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva, off of the free agent line and brought them in. So a fight that they never even built is a big fight. They say contradictory words where we're building towards big fights. You never built these guys. I don't know how, as a company, they're building towards it when then you do have the 2 title fights. Those are good fights in a sense. There's still a little bit of a skeptic and a shake your head-ism at Brent Primus versus Michael Chandler. Primus is coming off of 16 months of injuries and pulled out of his last fight that was going to be an eliminator against Adam Piccolotti that would have given him a good name on his record. Piccolotti instead fights Brandon Gertz, wins the fight, but surprisingly, Scott Croker, who owns some part in the American Kickboxing Academy, Piccolotti, a member of that gym, isn't being forced to a title fight, but Primus, coming off of injury, is being given this opportunity, or some of us are feeling being fed to the champion, Michael Chandler. A great fight, though, that they did make is Lorenz Larkin versus Douglas Lima. Rory McDonald, after 2 losses, even though he was a big free agent signing with his nose being busted up, is not really a championship contender. Larkin, coming off of the destruction of Neil Magny, did make himself a bigger name, so that is a good fight. But I don't understand why we're paying to watch Chael Sonnen against Wanderlei when you gave us Chael versus Tito for free. Why are you charging us for Fedor versus Mitrione when you were going to give it to free? I understand they want to build a pay-per-view brand and stream, and that is what this is all about, making that revenue process, making that money. But this is, again, what I feel is on Bellator about it. The company's been around for 9 years, had 1 unsuccessful pay-per-view. Successful pay-per-views go over 1 million buy rates. Their first one went 100,000. That's not a good return. And then you also kind of take a dump on all 175 other events you've ever had by saying, we are building to the big fights. I'll bring this up like I did yesterday on the radio. Daniel Strauss, Pitbull 4 for the featherweight title. It's not a big fight because they're only showing it on Spike TV. And that's coming from Scott Croker because big fights are on pay-per-view. So Bellator with mixed moves.
Well, but it's part of the evolution. It's part of the growing process. Now, I don't think we're going to see Bellator doing 12, 13 pay-per-views a year like UFC does right now. But if they do 3, 4, 5, 6 a year, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's the next step in the growth of the company. You know, we could talk about, all right, well, we saw this guy on free TV, now you want us to pay for him. UFC does that every month.
That does happen with the UFC, but the UFC didn't come out in such a brash term and say we're building towards bigger things. So that's literally saying none of this stuff before was big because we're building towards big things. The UFC does put on a monthly pay-per-view, and it sometimes is a little costly and is a little dreary. But it also does say that everybody's relevant in essence because you can be on a pay-per-view card, you can be on a fight night card, and we're not saying this fight is bigger than that fight. We're just saying this is where this event is. This is how it's being broadcasted. I kind of feel a little more with the UFC where Bellator makes these grand statements.
Yeah, well, there's certainly going to be some growing pains with this, some pushback from the fans. Ultimately, I think this is a really good thing, and you know, it's actually the exact opposite of the way UFC set up their model. They started out on pay-per-view and then had to go to TV to help promote the pay-per-view events. Bellator doing the reverse, the more traditional way of doing it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I do think there'll be some growing pains with it. There will be some pushback from fans. I'm a little surprised that they're going to charge $50 for the pay-per-view. You know, to me, if you're Bellator, you come in a little lower, encourage people to buy it. But at the same time, there's the perception, well, if you're charging less than UFC, then you must not be as good. So that was probably something that went into that thinking as well when pricing out the pay-per-view.
One of the reasons that I fell in love with MMA when I was channel surfing and got back into the UFC was the fact that there wasn't an opponent. I turned on the fight and there was Spencer Fisher versus Clay Guida, something like that. There wasn't, you have Michael Venom Page and his opponent. Sure. And Bellator has went that way. People need to realize that. They have flat out and said, we are the boxing of MMA. We are going to give our guys opponents to build them up, to build towards a fight that you're going to want to see. Why don't we get Michael Venom Page versus Paul Daly? Because you want to see it. So we're going to put them as far away from each other as we can, build them up by wins, and then put them together when you want to see, when we can charge you for it. So to come out and say that you're boxing when MMA started off as something different, Bellator from what it was to what it is has just kind of changed.
Didn't it have to change though?
It kind of did, it kind of didn't, but also change is coming, and we know that the FS1, the Fox deal, will be coming up eventually with the UFC. And there's a corner of the internet that's rumbling that's saying if Ari Gold and his crazy crackpot team are really wanting the numbers that they're wanting, what about this, for instance? Take away pay-per-view. Take away the TV deal, everything goes to Fight Pass, but Fight Pass gets put up to $50 a month, $60 a month, and you have all your content there because their asking price compared to what their viewership may be a greater, number than what ESPN or Fox wants to put out. So Bellator then could find itself in a pay-per-view market against itself where a lot of other places, WWE, Fight Network, they're all going towards a digital streaming.
And that's what I was going to say. When you first say that, that sounds like the most crazy, asinine thing possible. But if you look what WWE has done, and I realize sports entertainment versus MMA, believe me, I got it. But WWE was pay-per-view king. I mean, we could talk about all the numbers UFC does on pay-per-view. WWE blew them out of the water. WWE decided to start their own digital network, $9.99 a month. In addition to all the other stuff you get, it also includes all the pay-per-views. Now, they took some lumps in the early going because obviously a lot of people are going to say, all right, $9.99 a month versus $55, $60 a month for a pay-per-view. This is a no-brainer. But at the end, it starts to balance out. You continue to build up your network. And WWE pretty much did that from scratch. If you're talking UFC and possibly doing that down the road, UFC already has the infrastructure in place. They've already got the Fight Pass, set up. So it would be something easier for them to hit the ground running to do. I don't think that's as far-fetched as some people may think.
Exactly. That would be the way to go. We love you, ProView. That's on Comcast. But as numbers show and trends show, people are going away from traditional cable, satellite TV. People are turning towards a sling, using Netflix, digital streaming devices.
Sure.
So that's where I think the UFC is in the right place. And I think somewhere in their asking price and just the negotiations, burning bridges, it's going to work out to where it all transitions to Fight Pass. And then Bellator is going to be in a model competing at least by itself. But I do believe Fight Pass will kind of go up a good, like I said, 5 times.
Yeah. And even if it does, that's still a really good deal for what you get.
I would still pay $50 a month to have Fight Pass. Yes, I would do it.
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
And then we'll come back. We'll talk more fighting. How about that?
I think we're talking of the cage next.
Let's do that. More Red Menace TV coming up next.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with ProView Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmers agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Don't forget, every ProView Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today. Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of ProView Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Leaky roof? Energy bills out of control? You need a new Millennium roof. A new Millennium roof is seamless, self-flashing, provides much better insulation than a traditional roof, and is guaranteed. Plus, it's finished in a fraction of the time. Our certified applicators use state-of-the-art computer-controlled equipment that guarountees a flawless application, providing years of protection, commercial or residential. Stop those leaks and high utility bills with a new Millennium roof. To find out more, visit our website or call 730-0663.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Said that head and arm toss.
ProView Networks and Legacy Boxing Promotions are proud to present the Expo Explosion Weigh-Ins, Friday, March 31st from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Uptown Sports Bar, 6601 Uptown Boulevard Northeast. Great boxers like Christian Cabral, Hector Munoz, Jason and Jose Sanchez, Josh Pitbull Torres, and Fidel the Atrisco Kid Maldonado.
She's out of the way now. Hey, guess what? It's me, Rusty the Sports Clown, here for the Red Menace TV show. Yeah, we're just goofing around here. That's why I'm giggling a little bit. Anyway, guess what? Yeah, so all these people are talking about having busted brackets, and I don't get that. Psh, busted brackets. Mine is still perfect. See, all you have to do is wait till the game's over, pencil in who won. It's perfect. I don't know why people aren't doing that. Wait, you have to do what? That's not right. You have to guess who wins before the game starts. Well, who can do that? That's like almost impossible. God, that's dumb. Okay, hey, look at the time. Impossible. Speaking of, guess what? It's time for Sports Break. NFL news. Guess what? Romo, he's still a Cowboy. I know, everybody wants to know, so I'm here to keep you informed. I'll let you know when he does something like goes to Fox or ABC or, somebody like that, or if he even goes to another team. I'll let you know that too. All right, other NFL news. The Raiders are going to Vegas. No, not for vacation, not to, play blackjack and stuff. They're actually moving there for good. The owners are voting to approve the move to Las Vegas. You know why? Because all the Vegas hotels and casinos, they're putting up like $750 million. And the NFL says, wow, anybody willing to give us that much money, we can't turn them down, because what are we getting from Oakland? Nothing. Okay, so they're moving and stuff. So some Raider fans are happy. I've got one Raider buddy who is saying, hey, I don't care if they're in Oakland, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, I don't care if they go to Mars. I'm still a Raiders fan. I've got another buddy who, he's almost in tears. I'm not going to be a fan of them moving to Vegas. And So, I'm sure he's going to become a Cowboys fan pretty soon. Right, Bill? Yeah, okay. Anyway, now moving on to NBA. All right, the season is way too long when the commissioner has to send out a memo to the teams about not resting their players. All right, here's the deal. Okay, some of these teams, they're getting ready for the playoffs. So, all the better players, they're putting them on the bench, giving them a chance to rest so that they're going to stay fresh for the playoffs. But the bad part of this is you have, Mr. Joe Fan out there who wants to take his family to a game. Now, he's spending $200 a piece per ticket to go to a game. So, he's going to take Junior and Junioretta, and they're going to go to the game. So, and maybe Mrs. So that's like $800 just for tickets. So, by the time you're done buying popcorn and sodas and maybe a hat or two, you're, $1,000 probably to go to an NBA game. Because you want to see Steph Curry or, maybe somebody that's good. I don't know. So, you go to the game, bam, and what happens? Well, why isn't Steph playing? He's resting. Why didn't they tell us that beforehand? They don't tell us beforehand. Okay, so NBA came out with a couple different things. One of them is you have to send out a notice in advance stating when you're going to rest players so that fans are aware so they can decide whether they want to go to the game or not. The other thing is you have, the commercial guys saying, hey, we're promoting this game and now the guys that we wanted to promote aren't even playing. What are we going to do? That's the deal with the NBA. Sometimes, they're on the mark and they get things done, and other times, they say, hey, you can't rest your players, unless the player's hurt or unless the team is tanking and they want, a better lottery pick, which makes no sense to me at all because the team they're playing is probably fighting for a playoff spot. Doesn't make sense. But, hey, that's the NBA, they don't care about us. So you rich NBA guys, just go do what you're going to do. You're going to anyway. All right, that's it. Moving on. NCAA Final Four. All right, we have Gonzaga versus South Carolina. We have Oregon versus North Carolina. It's like an East versus West thing because you have two teams, the Carolinas, they're like on the East, and then you have Gonzaga, which is in Washington, and Oregon, which is in, I'm guessing Oregon. So they're like on the West Coast. So it's East versus West. It's either going to be an all-East final, an all-West final, or it's going to be mixed somehow. You figure it out. All right, now if Carolinas play, I used to know a girl named Caroline. Yeah, that's not ugly when she starts getting mad and stuff. So I hope that doesn't happen. All right, I'm going to let you know how my bracket turns out next week after the games are over. See, I'll let you know. That's how I do things. All right, moving on to Lobo news. We have Lobo baseball still undefeated in the Mountain West. But they're going to have to figure out how to hit against top 20 teams if they want to actually make it to Omaha this year. They've been doing really well against the Mountain West teams, but not so good against those other guys. Lobo football, we have spring practice happening Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Just go, because that's what I say. All right, spring game is on April 22nd. Mark your calendar and go to that. Have fun. Be there. It's going to be cool. High school baseball this past weekend, Sal Puentes Invitational. It was Cleveland over Clovis. Came down to the bottom of the 7th inning. Clovis is up by 2. Cleveland comes from behind to win it. Okay, sadness on Clovis's part. I know. You'll get better. It'll be good. All right, here's what's going to happen now. Time for me to say bye. All right. I welcome you to follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Share all my stuff because, that's how more people know about me. Because if you don't share me, other people don't know that I'm famous because I'm very famous. So do that. If there is an event, a game, a meet, I don't care if it's soccer, I don't care if it's track, I don't care if it's baseball, I don't care if it's Lobo practice. Just go, because that's the cool thing to do. Right, everybody? Right. Okay, that's it for now. I'll see you next week and let you know how my bracket turns out. Bye, guys. Love you.
Just come to us. Okay.
Do we know which one is there?
Do you feel like less of a man having to follow a clown? I know I do.
I'm amazed that he can keep track of all those topics and still do his makeup.
Some people are afraid of clowns.
Yeah, we've had some drive-by silly stringings in here that have gotten me a little worrisome about him.
I've actually been attacked by the clown on the show.
You know, you kind of talk trash to lead up to that, though.
What was that movie? That really scary movie with that scary clown? It. Come on, man.
See?
Respect clowns.
Already. I like this guy. He doesn't like the clown. I don't like the clown. This is great.
This guy, we forgot to introduce our next guest that we brought in. We have Nick Gonzalez, Saint Nick, as we like to refer to him, from Jackson Winks MMA, going to be part of King of the Cage Starbound at the Star Center, April 8th. Thanks for coming in so that we can ask you about the fight.
Me, appreciate it.
Yep. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
So last time I saw you in the cage, main event, short notice opponent, up at the Jackson's MMA series, a big night for you because it was returning and overcoming injuries.
Yes, sir.
So in retrospect, tell us about that experience for you getting back to action.
Yeah, that was basically a dream come true. About 3 years with the knee injury, then trying to come back. Then I had a boxing match that didn't go very well for me, but it was a great experience. That also put me on the injured list, and and that's okay. You know what I mean? You get knocked down, you get up. You know what I mean? All the trials and everything I've gone through to get back was just fantastic. You know what I mean? I love every bit of it. I embrace all of it, and grateful for all the experiences. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to be tested about how bad you want. You know what I mean? Is this your passion? Are you serious about it? Because you know what I mean. You're going to be tested. You know what I mean? And that's okay with me. And I was thrilled to come back. It was a great victory, but time to move on, live, learn, grow, become something that I know I can. And I'm still training hard, working hard, and we're going to go for it, man. We're going to make a run for it.
Real quick, you said the boxing experience didn't go well for you. What was the thought process into trying that, and is that something you'd be up for trying again in the future?
I would absolutely love to try that again in the future, and the reason for that is you got to challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go for it in life. You know, you can't let fear, doubt, or disbelief hold you back from who you're supposed to become. And even though you fall, or even though you take a L or whatever, that's all right. You know, it's only a loss if you quit. And otherwise, I think it made me a better person, a better fighter, in every way possible and form to make me better. So absolutely, and I love combat sports. I love being a part of it. I love it all. It's my passion, and absolutely, if I can get back in there and throw down again on some boxing, I will. And hey, it was a tough opponent, and every man that steps in there is tough. And yeah, it was great. I loved it. Hurt, but I love it. You know what I mean? But what doesn't hurt? Anything worth doing is gonna hurt a bit, right?
There you go.
I mean? All right, like sitting here dressed like this kind of hurts too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but were you afraid you were going to be recognized? So you're like, oh, I'll go incognito.
Yeah. I'm tucking in. I'm like, yeah, if one thing, I'll make myself look like a homeless man. You know what I mean? So hey, whatever. It is what it is.
The studio's on Central, and Nick tried to blend in with the surroundings.
I tried to blend in, man. I even asked for some money, got punched in the eye for it. So I don't know. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know.
How could they do that?
I know what's going on nowadays. I said anything helps. They said, how about a fist in the face?
April 8th, Joey Trevino's the opponent. King of Cage Starbound. 135, 125. Where's this fight at?
We're rocking out at 135. We're going to go ahead and go for it there. When the big leagues call and they're willing to pay some good money, then I'll go 125 again, man. But 125 is tough, for me to make. I can make it, but I'm not thrilled about it.
Now, Trevino, he's going to be making his pro debut, but he has, and I'm not over-exaggerating when I say nearly 20 fights as an amateur, somewhere between 15 to 20 fights as an amateur. So there's not like there's this giant experience gap. We've seen him as a veteran of the King of the Cage circuit. I know you've got to observe him before then, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I know who he is. I know what he's bringing to the table. I do have respect for him. And he's a tough guy, and he got skill, but it's just, I'm on a whole nother level of where I'm at, and how I'm training and what I'm doing. And, it's no disrespect to him. I'm definitely not putting him down. I'm putting me up. I know my abilities. I know what I'm capable of. And come April 8th, I'm going to get out there and show my skills and to the rest of the world. So we're going to do it, man. You know what I mean? It don't matter who they put in front of me. it's all out. I'm all in. You know what I mean? Let's go for it. Let's do it. You know, I got to say that this fight is dedicated to my mom and basically everybody. You know, this fight is dedicated to my mom, who is in the battle for her life right now, dealing with cancer and things like that. So, you know, it don't matter who they put in front of me. I'm knocking down all walls. I'm coming. There's nothing that's going to stop me. Nothing.
Don't want to get too personal, but I know that recently you had went out with her to get some treatment for her to undergo a surgery.
Yes.
What was the strangest look you got in the hospital where you're running around exercising, trying to do other things? Because I know, Nick, you have too much energy. If she was actually in surgery, you're not that guy in the waiting room. You're like, somebody call me when she's out, and you're running around the building still doing your miles.
You know, at that point, you know, it's just more of a mental conditioning. And, you know, about spending time with the family and stuff, you know what I mean? My mom, my family, everybody deserves a couple of days, you know what I mean? And my body probably could use a couple of days too, as well as my mind. So, you know, I wasn't running around the hospital. I was focused on the family and doing things like that, and just keeping my mind right and keeping my mindset right, and just embracing and grateful for all the experience of this, you know what I mean? I'm not discouraged. I'm not blaming anybody or why me or why her or anything like that. Nope, I'm embracing all of it and giving thanks for everything I'm experiencing in my life, because it's a wonderful journey called life, you know what I mean? And you gotta embrace everything that comes with it, the ups, the downs, the twists, the turns, and hey, when you're climbing a mountain, sometimes you trip, but you get up and you keep climbing no matter what, you know what I mean? So yeah, I absolutely loved it, and you know, she's fighting through. She has a tough battle ahead of her, and I can't let my mom go fight alone, you know what I mean? So absolutely, I gave a couple days out there to her. I wish I could have stayed, but we have business to handle, you know, so.
Also with that, from listening to your body, you needed those couple days, it sounded like too. It sounded like having to deal with that for the family gave you the best needed excuse for you to take a step back and give that body some rest.
Absolutely.
So with the age that you have, this experience, and I know you got a group of amateurs that follow you, how are you able to use your wisdom to try to convey it to these younger guys? Because we sit around for circle time after training, and I'm there sometimes, and the most amazing wisdom I hear from you.
Well, you know, I appreciate that compliment, you know what I mean? But you know, amateur, know all those guys, all my team members are teammates and training partners and brothers and friends, family. You know what? They give me just as much as I give them. You know what I mean? And without any of them, I wouldn't be where I'm at. You know what I mean? But yeah, if I have more, you know, I've been in the game longer, then absolutely, I am sharing my experiences with them. I am giving them what I know and what I do believe in, and yeah, absolutely, there's no doubt about it.
Nick, appreciate you coming by. Best of luck and continued success. With best wishes to your mom as well.
All right, boom.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully Leroy's back next week. If not, well, just me and Michael will handle it.
Don't forget, every ProView Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com